Everyone, I have a thumbs up, so that means we are Facebook Live. So at this point in time, I'll call this meeting to order. This is our regular meeting, our first meeting of April 7th. We will first stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll follow that with invocation by Alderman Vaughn, and then a moment of silence. If you would, stand with me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alderman Vaughn, if you would, please.
Let us pray. God of creation, the giver of life, God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. Father God, again, it's just a few of your handmaid servants that you allowed your angels to watch over all day long as we've gone out to our daily occupations and daily routine. Now, Father God, you would allow this mayor and the board to come back to handle business for this city. Praying, God, that you would just move on our heart and direct our hearts and our thoughts. Father God, that we make good, wise, and sound decisions, but most of all, to glorify you in our decision making. We thank you so much. We ask you that you would please forgive us of all our sins. We thank you for being our God and we're your servants, being our Father and we're your children. We thank you so much for controlling our destiny, not leaving us in the hand of the old man. Now, Father, we ask you that you would bless us now. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here this evening. And we will move forward with the approval of the official agenda with consented items. We do have a couple of things, well, at least one thing. There's an item under HR that will be withdrawn, and that is item number 6. So that will be removed from the agenda. And then just for purposes of notification, the folks who are requesting the variance for the automatic fire sprinkler system have said they will not pursue that. But since we have put it in for a public hearing, we will go ahead and have that public hearing. In case they decide to bring it back, we will have met that requirement. So we will have that public hearing, but that will not be under board consideration for this evening. So with having said that, do I have any changes to the agenda? Alderman Moreland?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Sistro?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Skinner?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Brooks?
No, Mayor, thank you.
Alderman Poca?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
Mayor, just one brief inquiry. It's always good to help a sister town or city. So, I mean, this is just something we won't be on a pattern of going to municipalities replacing
Absolutely.
poles.
Yes, sir. Absolutely not. This is a
Okay.
request from Mayor Bean.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
were unable to get some assistance from a couple of different entities.
Yes, ma'am.
And so they asked us, we have helped them in the past when
Sure.
they've had the Sturgis Bike Rally, for example. So Mayor Bean reached out, and I thought that since we are allowed to do that, this would be an appropriate thing to help them with.
I concur for this time. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you.
Appreciate the notification on
Thank
that.
you.
Alderman Vaughn.
Oh, man, thank you, Mayor.
All right. With that being said, I need a motion to approve the agenda with the consented items.
Move approval.
I have a motion from Alderman Poca. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Skinner. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries, and I will read those consented agenda items. First, we have consideration of the minutes of the March 13th, 2026 work session of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Then we have consideration of the minutes of the March 17th, 2026 recess meeting of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville. Moving to mayor's business, we have number A is consideration of approving assisting the town of Sturgis with a project to remove damaged power poles from a public park using the City of Starkville Utilities truck assets as authorized by Mississippi Code Section 17-5-15-2024. Under board business, we have consideration of applying for a national fitness campaign fitness project at George M. Bryan Field. Number 2 is request to advertise for bids regarding the FAA 2026 AIP runway and taxiway extension project phase 2 on George M. Bryan Field. Under community development and planning, we have 1, it's discussion and consideration of a special event request by Alden Thornhill to hold the 2026 Starkville Derby, I want to say Dachshund Derby, on April 25th, 2026, and have city participation with in-kind services. Number 2 is consideration of authorizing the acceptance of the Mississippi Hills Heritage Area Alliance grant of $20,000 with a required 1-to-1 local match. Under engineering, we have consideration of approving task order number 5 for Neil Schaefer, Inc. for the final design of the Old West Point Road Bridge replacement in an hourly not to exceed amount of $65,000. 2 is consideration of accepting the public infrastructure of Magnolias at Bentbrook subdivision. Under Finance and Administration, we have request authorization for the City Clerk's office to award the Starkville Commercial Dispatch for publication of legal notices. 3 is approval of fiscal year 2026 budget adjustments. 4 is consideration and approval of 2 resolutions of Mayor and Board of Aldermen authorizing and approving execution of 2 equipment lease purchase agreements with Cadence Equipment Finance, a division of the Huntington National Bank, to finance 2 front-load refuse trucks. Under the Fire Department, we have request authorization to declare the repairs to Engine 4 as an emergency under Mississippi State Statute Section 31-7-13 and approve the additional repair costs associated with the replacement of brake shoes and drums at TAG Truck Center as necessary to restore the apparatus to safe and operational condition at a cost of $5,504.81. 2 is request permission to apply for a 2026 Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation grant. The amount of this grant will be approximately $35,778.73. The turnouts will be purchased up front, and SFD will be reimbursed 100%. Under Human Resources, we have number 1, request authorization to promote Alex Bishop to Commercial Driver 1 in the Sanitation and Environmental Services Department. 2 is request authorization to hire Daniel Triplett as Foreman 1 in the Sanitation and Environmental Services Department. 3 is request authorization to hire Edward Cole Bush as a reserve police officer in the Starkville Police Department. Number 5 is request authorization to hire Jarek Jenkins and Ryan Miner as street maintenance worker 1 in the street department. 7 is request authorization to hire Javian Crane as a sanitation worker 1 in the Sanitation and Environmental Services Department. Under IT, we have request approval of the purchase of Abnormal AI email security software for the lowest quote of $8,400 yearly. Under Parks, we have 1, consideration of approving the change order number 2 for the J.L. King Culvert Replacement Project for an increase of $65,513.08. 2 is request authorization to purchase and install vent hood and kitchen equipment from Jackson Restaurant Supply with equipment cost of $29,655.20 and installation cost of $12,500 for a total of $42,155.20, including a down payment of $15,749.03 for Cornerstone Concession Stand. 3 is requesting consideration to approve the sole source service agreement with Perry Weather for 2 full-service weather systems at a prorated cost of $1,136.44 for the time of May 1 through June 29, 2026. This amount plus shipping cost of $800 will total $1,936.44 beginning June 1, 2026. The total for 2 additional units will be $6,800 annually. Number 4 is consideration to approve the lowest quote of $69,495 from Wade Incorporated for 5 commercial-grade mowers consisting of 4 72-inch and 1 60-inch mower. Under Police, we have consideration to approve the list of City of Starkville unmarked cars for fiscal year 2026 under Section 25-187. Under the Sanitation Department, we have request approval of a pilot agreement with Third Eye Environmental Solutions Group for a camera for the sweeper truck with cost to be reimbursed by Ingram Equipment Company. Under the Utilities Department, we have consideration of the acceptance of the audited financial statements of the Starkville Utilities Electric Division for the 12-month period ended September 30th, 2025, and the year ended September 30th, 2024, as presented by Watkins Ward and Stafford CPAs, PLLC. 2 is consideration of the acceptance of the mechanical service agreement and maintenance contract with Brislin, Inc. for Starkville Utilities Operations Center, HVA services from April 1, 2026 to March 31, 2027. 3 is request authorization to advertise for bids for the Curry Street generator, materials only. 4 is request authorization to accept the emergency purchase in accordance with Mississippi State Statute 31-7-13 from Berry Electric, LLC in the amount of $8,200 for electrical repairs and a transfer switch at Academy Well. 5 is request authorization to execute the Mississippi Development Authority Energy and Natural Resources Division Mississippi 40101 Sub D Grid Resilience Grant Program Subaward Grant Agreement. 6 is request authorization to accept the low quote from Bill Young in the amount of $21,820 for maintenance of altitude valves at 4 locations: Curry Street, Scale Street, Loxley, and Azalea Street. 7 is request authorization to accept the low quote from Berry Electric, LLC in the amount of $32,500 for installation of manual transfer switches at the Parkdale and Henderson wells. Last but not least, number 8, request authorization to accept the low quote from Myers Fence Sales LLC in the amount of $12,500 for perimeter fence at Loxley Tank. And that does conclude the consent agenda items.
Thank you, Mayor.
I am happy to do that. All right, we next move to announcements and comments. And so the mayor's comments, I'm going to do a little public service announcement here for a couple of things. First and foremost, and this only happens once a year unless they change it and add one to it, this is the waste collection day out at the Golden Triangle Regional Landfill. It is this Saturday from 7:30 to 1, and this is for them to take in residential materials, which include, I'm going to go ahead and read them out just for public service announcement purposes: pesticides, paints and stains, rodent poison, electronic waste, lighter fluids, batteries, aerosols, household cleaners, automobile fluids, oil filters, chlorine, and herbicides, materials that are not allowed. So don't bring your bombs. This is no explosives, no infectious waste, no munitions, no radioactive waste, no gas canisters, butane, propane, freon, etc., and no freon appliances, air conditioners, refrigerators, etc., and no items for business or industry. This is strictly for residential materials only. It's all over social media, but I didn't want to be able to say that to you guys, so y'all can pass it along, please, because invariably somebody will come up next week and go, when is the hazardous waste collection day? So hopefully the word will get out. That, and then we get to announce the King Cotton Crawfish Boil, and we have a judge in the audience. Mr. Smiley is going to be judging crawfish, so y'all can go enjoy. This is this Saturday as well. It's going to be in front of the hub, and it's going to be from when to when?
1 to 3.
1 to 3. Thank you. I believe we needed that on here, but it's from 1 to 3. So go enjoy crawfish and being outside with friends and neighbors, and y'all can give Mr. Smiley a hard time or your recommendations for the taste testing. I also want to say that we're going to have an incredibly busy weekend in Starkville this weekend. We've got 75 teams for tournaments out at Cornerstone. We've got a 3-game series for baseball, a 3-game series for softball, and we've got the International Fiesta Festival out on campus. So it's going to be a really busy weekend. I hope everyone gets out and takes advantage of it and enjoys all those things that are going on in town this weekend. And I believe that brings me to the end of my announcements. So anyone else? Alderman Moreland, anything?
No, ma'am.
Alderman Sistrunk?
No, Mayor, thank you.
Alderman Skinner?
No, Mayor, thanks.
All right. Alderman Brooks?
A couple.
A couple. All right, you go.
I wanted to, just for the vice mayor's information, just a little bit more information on the deal over Sturgis. I obviously can't speak to the town of Sturgis, but I am on the rally board. And I do want you to know this, that it's the old baseball field.
Yes, sir.
And if you're my age, and there's probably some of you that are my age, you might have played ball on that field a long time ago, and that's how long that stuff's been up there.
Yes, sir.
And the mayor recognized that it was a safety hazard because that's
sir.
where we have a lot of the rallies there on that baseball field. All a bunch of kids run around. They have the band down there and biker games. And he felt like it was a safety hazard, if those things were to fall. So that's why it wasn't that they, again, I can't speak for him, but I from the rally board, I do want to thank all the members of the board for going along with that, and the mayor and Mr. Kemp for taking, for agreeing to take those down, because it was simply a safety issue on those lights. Second, I want to congratulate Mr. Thornhill on what he's been able to do in that, with that derby. I noticed you guys had a little mini version with some tourist attraction was in, a tourist board or a tourist group was in town, and like a big hit. Just because of my work, I wasn't able to attend the first couple, but I was there last year, and I was impressed and just blown away with the just the attendance and how many people were there and what a big time it was, and we love seeing that more than before. So I'll say that. And on the crawfish, tickets are on sale now. I believe that's right, Mr.
Yes,
Skinner. $30 in advance and $40
40 at the gate.
40 at the gate. So, and you don't want to miss that. Thank you, Mayor.
You're very welcome. Alderman Polk, anything?
No, ma'am, thank you.
All right, Vice Mayor?
Lastly, Mayor, let me just take a very brief moment to publicly recognize you and Mr. Chris Smiley, the Director of our Sanitation Environmental Services, for your very great decision of having citywide garbage collection on Thursday, April 2 of 2026, in light of the fact that the city was closed for Good Friday, this past Friday, April 3, 2026, and have a lot of constituents in that area of Tuesday and Friday garbage collection there, and there was overwhelming support, and they asked me just to acknowledge to you and Mr. Smiley how much they appreciate that, and I also thank you as well. Thank you.
We're happy to do it. Glad to make the residents happy and convenient for them, as well as good for the sanitation department. So thank you. Alderman Vaughn.
No, Madam Mayor, thank you.
All right, thank you. With that, we will move to citizens' comments. This is the opportunity that citizens have to speak to the board for 3 minutes. You can tell us concerns. We'll take compliments too. Whatever might be on your mind. And this is for things that are not under the public hearing this evening. So we have several public hearings, but this is strictly for things that are not under the public hearing agenda items. Mr. Turner.
All right. Good evening to the mayor and board. My name is Alvin Turner, Ward 7. To the police department, to the fire department, to the sanitation department, and to the NACP, Dr. Jerry Jefferson. The citizens have just a couple of concerns, and that is that we don't know with the elderly and the handicapped, we getting headaches that are the light bill is everywhere but the mailbox, and a lot of people don't fix income, and they do not want to wind up in the dark because they don't know where the light bill is, and they don't have the funds to pay it because it didn't come on time. Again, also with 182 in the redevelopment, people is kind of concerned on that note. If we need to get to Alderman Vaughn, how we do it with the thing have changed, like the change.
All right, thank you, Mr. Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
We're going to get them to your house. We will. We'll help. Anyone else under citizens' comments? Anyone else? All right, seeing none, I will close it as citizens' comments, and we will move to public hearings. So this will be our second public hearing and consideration to adopt an ordinance to control the sale of synthetic kratom and kratom products within the city limits of Starkville. So a little bit of history. In the board's packet, there were 3 ordinances. At the request of board members, there are 3 drafts. One is a total ban on all kratom and kratom products, both natural and synthetic. One of them is a ban on everything, but a decriminalization for possession and use. And the third one is a ban only on the synthetic products and allowing the natural kratom to be a part, or to be not criminalized and not banned from the city. So, and that one was essentially following state law. So in order for an ordinance to be adopted, it must be reduced to writing, which is why the reason there are 3 of them, and the board gets to determine which one of those they wish to select from, if they do indeed wish to do so. Over the past month or so, we have certainly received numerous emails, communications, phone calls from multiple folks, some who are Starkville residents, some who are not, but those who are interested in both the synthetic problem as being a problem, and those who have quite frequently, I've had a lot of emails that reflect the desire to keep the natural kratom, the natural leaf kratom, available, and the synthetic ban. So anecdotally, there's a huge amount of stories that have come to us, and I think most of the board members have received those emails that have come to us and stated that the concern about banning all elements of kratom, and as opposed to leaving the natural available to the public. So I say that to say that we have gotten mostly anecdotes. Obviously, there is a lot of conflicting scientific information out there. I don't know that I've seen anybody settle on anything, but there's just numerous views about this particular product. So it's not a simple decision. It's a complex decision, and I think the board has worked hard to work their way through that decision-making process. So before I open it as a public hearing, anybody wish to speak to this matter at this point in time? Any board member wishing to speak? Okay, seeing none, what I will do is I'll open it as a public hearing. We have 15 minutes in favor of the ban and 15 minutes against the ban. And if you want to speak against the ban, I would suggest you do so based on, use the natural part if you want to distinguish it that way, because we're not going to do 3 15-minute sessions. So we will start with those who are in against the ban for the ordinance. Someone who wishes to come speak against the board adopting this ordinance. No one wishes to. Against the ban. Keeping it legal, against the ban, okay? Or, yes, ma'am. If you come forward, if you give me your name, we're going to be timing it for 15 minutes. So let's do this. How many wishing to speak against the ban? 1, 2, 3, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I won't have to divide you up too badly, because these folks over here, I have a feeling I'm going to have to parse out the time. So, yes, ma'am, if you give us your name, please.
Excuse me, I'm Sherry Owings. I was here last one also. I'm for, the natural cradle leaf. It did save my life, but I actually bought some studies on, they have found that the kratom leaf, they have found that it is killing cancer cells in your breast. Found 2 studies, and I submitted those, and I'd like for y'all to keep those to evidence. Anyway, what it did for me, I have had pre-cancer cells. I've had, since I was 17, I've been struggling with this. And every year I would go get and I've had several removed over the years. And I would have to go get a mammogram, and then they'd call me back. Every time I had to go back and get another one, because they'd find more lumps, and they had to check them. So I've been dealing with that forever. Well, when I started taking kratom, my breasts started getting better. They weren't as sore as they were. And so when I did my mammograms, all of my cysts were gone. They were gone, and I couldn't figure it out. And then this study came out last year that it's killing the cancer cells, the kratom leaf is. Isn't that amazing? So I just wanted to share that. But I did tell some of my story before, and that, I was on pain medication pretty much all my life. I've had the pain. I've got scoliosis. I've got 6 bulging discs in my neck. And when the CDC cut my pain medication, they cut it by 85%. So I didn't know about street drugs. I never bought anything like that, but there was alcohol. And my doctor did suggest that I should drink wine at night, because it just settled me down. I was taking care of my father at the time. He had a bad stroke and moved in with me. So I did drink the wine at night, and then I started gaining more weight on the wine. So I went to vodka pretty quick, and I did become a full-blown alcoholic. Over those years where I kept my daddy, and my husband, he was here with me, he was sick on me too. They diagnosed him with Parkinson's, so I had them both. I couldn't check myself into rehab. I couldn't go and get myself help. But while I was doing all that, I spent every dime we had. I mean, we had nothing left. If we hadn't had our house paid for, we would have lost it. So, I know I don't like alcohol now, but I can't come in here and tell y'all, get that out of your town, because I couldn't handle it. I had to get myself straight. I still come up here and go to your football games. I have to watch people drink all around me, but I have my kratom leaf that helps my pain and everything, and I can sit through a whole ball game, and I can drive back home. And I don't want the alcohol. It actually took all of my craving away for alcohol. It took my withdrawals away. So I can't come in here and in my town to tell y'all to take that alcohol out. Take it out of Walmart. It's even in the Walgreens. It's everywhere you go. I had to take control over my life and myself. over something else that was hurting me. Somebody else can do it, then it's not hurting them. They can do it. They're adults. They can handle it. So I would never want to take anything away from somebody that's, helping y'all relax at night or whatever. Whoever wants to have a drink, I don't condemn anybody for that. But Kratom did save my life. And it took me, I lost my business. I've now got my business back because I could work it, but I lost everything. I lost my daughter. I still haven't got her back. And, I'm still working at that. So you lose a lot when you go down the wrong path. But I'm getting it all back. I've been 8.5 years sober thanks to this leaf. I don't take any medication anymore. Before I found Kratom, I was on 26 different medications trying to relieve my pain. And I was taking injections. I'd have to go every 6 months and get a steroid injection in my back. Now I go down here to Dr. Allen's and my chiropractor. I just left that a while ago. And that's pretty much all I do. But I just want y'all to let y'all know about that leaf in this ground. That's just amazing. But I do understand about the 7HO. But I also went down to Jackson and I fought for 5 years to get that stuff out of here. Well, it came up about 3 years later. But I fought, and we do have the bill in Mississippi that regulated Kratom, and they did that for people like me. They understood it was a bunch of us old people down there fighting for it to keep the Kratom safe. Because it is a gift of God. I call it the tree of life because it brought my life back. I would absolutely be dead if my husband hadn't found that Kratom and brought it home for me to take. I would be dead. My skills were so bad. I would stand up and I would walk backwards. That's how much it had poisoned my brain. It does so much to you. It did so much damage to my body. But I'm healing every day still. And I just wish y'all would regulate it. And, just the 7HO that was hurting everybody. And it was absolutely hurting people. It was not Kratom. And it shouldn't have been sold like that. But even, the FDA is going by pretty much what we went by, what Mississippi did. So I'm proud of that. And Florida did too. Right after we did that, Florida did the same thing. They got the 7HO out and they regulated Kratom for their people. And I thank y'all so much for having me here. And just, if y'all got any questions?
No, ma'am, this is
Okay.
strictly for
Okay.
you. So you just talk to us.
Okay.
All right.
And that's all I got.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else?
Good evening to all of you. Good evening. My name is Brenda McVeigh. I submitted an email to you earlier. I am a 63-year-old with 2 sons and a grandmother of 3 beautiful grandsons. I'm a wife to a wonderful husband, David, for 40 years. Most importantly, I'm a believer of the Lord Jesus Christ since a very young age. Growing up in a godly home, I have witnessed and seen and experienced the importance of God's creation plays a major role in our health. As I grew, so did the expansion of Western medicine. Humanity is paying the ultimate price today, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Since my cancer diagnosis in 2007, I have been and currently proactive in using natural remedies, herbal plants for medicinal purposes, and using homemade non-toxic items for hygiene and household cleansers. Since my health journey, using this natural herbs and products, I am cancer-free today. I have no more abnormal cells. My health is better now than it's ever been in my younger days. No health problems that in the past restricted my livelihood. As I've lost weight and I have been able to sustain my weight using only natural herbs. I thoroughly believe God's word, and his word is knowledge to the one who seeks, and is clearly stated in Ezekiel 47:12, their fruit will be the food and their leaves for healing. God's word is our instruction manual and is proof today that we do have the natural right to freely have natural access to his pure leaf plants. In Genesis 1:11, then God said, "Let the earth produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and fruit trees on earth, bearing fruit and seed in it according to their kinds." And it was good. In Genesis 1:29, God also said, "Look, I have given you every seed-bearing plant on this surface of the earth, and every tree whose fruit contains seed. This will be food for you." I have personally witnessed and experienced the health-shattering effects of what addictive chemicals and toxins can do to a physical body in my life and in the life of my son. This addiction does not only affect the life of the user, but everyone who this user is attached to: siblings, parents, spouse, children, friends, etc. This addiction sucks the life out of them and whoever is close to them. It will destroy families and relationships. The value of life and living sustainably is most important and should not be taken away by removing natural resources that provide sustainability. By removing this natural resource provided by the one who created the natural resource will result in infringing upon the rights of natural born created by God. You clearly cannot argue that we are naturally born in the great country called America, the land of the free, from which the natural pure leaf plant sprouted from. Kratom pure leaf plant is a natural resource I am referring to. Kratom, grown from earth, is one of the wonderful miracle plants God created to help humanity. As I have firsthand seen as a parent what prescribed and over-the-counter medications can do to people, to families, to friends alike.
Ms. McVeigh, there's one other person who wants to speak, and we're down to 4 minutes.
Okay. Okay. I just urge you to please save the pure leaf plant called Kratom, God's creation, humanity, and I thank you so much for this time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, sir. You wanted to speak? Yes, sir. Was I incorrect? I thought I had seen your hand. Okay. The remaining 3.5 minutes are yours.
Madam Mayor and members of the Board of Aldermen, my name is Stephen Dentali. I hold a doctorate in pharmaceutical sciences and have spent over 30 years advising government, non-governmental, and industry organizations on the safety and chemistry of botanical ingredients. This includes over 2 decades of expert committee member service for the U.S. Pharmacopoeia, where quality standards are set for medicines, foods, and dietary supplements worldwide. I'm here as an advisor to the Botanicals for Better Health and Wellness Trade Organization. A formal scientist statement from the Kratom Science Symposium Organizing Committee, signed by Dr. Paula Brown and included in your agenda packet, states that kratom leaf is a traditionally consumed material, not a synthetic drug, that there is insufficient evidence to warrant banning it, and there may be unintended public safety risks in doing so. In preparing for this hearing, I noted that a kratom talk will be presented by the chair of the Department of Environmental Health Sciences at the University of Arkansas, just down the road at Ole Miss, in 2 weeks. A 2025 peer review article of his published in Pharmaceutical Biology concludes that concentrated 7-OH products are pharmacologically and toxicologically distinct from natural kratom leaf and pose significant risks of morbidity and mortality under typical conditions of use. In short, it points out that 7-OH products have recently shifted kratom from its origins as a botanical commodity into the domain of a potent opiate-like health hazard. I have copies of this comprehensive review if you wish to see it. I commend the board for its desire to align policy with science and offer 2 final points. First, the public health concern driving this conversation is clear. Synthetic and highly concentrated 7-OH is a dangerous lab-made drug that does not belong on store shelves. A ban that sweeps natural botanical kratom into the same category as that synthetic chemical is not supported by the science. Second, Mississippi's own Kratom Consumer Protection Act, House Bill 1077, signed into law last April, restricts sales to adults 21 and older, and specifically bans products with high concentrations of 7-OH. Focusing local efforts on banning 7-OH products specifically aligns Starkville with state law, protects consumers, and provides a clear, workable framework for local businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. All right. No minutes left, right? Or we had 1 minute left. Anyone else wishing to speak against the ordinance? All right. We'll close that part down. Now, how many are interested in speaking to the board in favor of the ordinance? Just one? Just one. Okay, well, then that case, all right. I'm just trying to make sure that we leave enough time for whoever wants to say. So I've got two right now that show that they wish to speak about this. Okay, well then come right on up. And this is in favor of the ordinance. Okay, yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Bo Striblin.
I'm sorry, your name?
Bo Striblin.
Okay, I'm sorry, thank you.
I'm gonna tell y'all what Kratom has done to my life over the past few years. I was addicted to it, taking it every day for the last 2 or 3 years. Almost lost my family, my house, vehicles, almost lost everything. And I'm 36 days sober today. I went to a rehab center, and I can only thank the Lord, Jesus Christ, for helping me get through these struggles. I was spending $1,000 a month over these past 8 or 9 months. That's been going on for years now. And I just don't want to see another family out there struggling with addiction, because this stuff is highly addictive. The liquids, the powder, the synthetic 7-OH, they're highly addictive. And you can still buy the 7-OHs in Starkville, Mississippi. They still sell it under the counter. Under the counter. They sell it every day. There's only one store in town that does it. And I think all of it needs to be banned. Every last bit of it. I just hope y'all really listen to what I said, and y'all go ahead and get rid of all of it, because if Oxford, Mississippi can ban it, I know Starkville can too. And that's all I've got.
Thank you, Mr. Strickland.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Mike Sullivan. I was advised by my daughter to speak into the microphone this time and not bang the podium. Okay, so here we go. So several years ago, I was trying to get my loved one off of Kratom, and I was advised by a quote Kratom expert to give my loved one the pure leaf Kratom. So I ordered it online. I got it, and I decided I would try it myself first before I gave it to them. The first day, I took the recommended dosage, whatever it was, a teaspoon in the morning, a teaspoon at night. Second day, teaspoon got a little bit bigger because it made me feel good. It made me high. It felt just like I was taking either codeine, cough syrup, or a pain pill. Third day, tablespoon. Fourth day, I wanted to come home at lunch and get some more. Fifth day, I flushed it down the toilet. Okay, so this stuff, I don't care if they call it pure leaf, powder, whatever they call it, it gets you high. I've experienced it. And also, there are some store owners in Starkville that are paying their employees Kratom. Now and there's also store owners that are trading favors for Kratom. Kind of sounds like a drug dealer, don't it? Something needs to be done about this stuff. It is killing people, it's destroying families, and it needs to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. All right, anyone else? Anyone else? Let's see. Mr. Childs.
My name is Frank Childs, and I'm in Ward 1. Alderman Moreland is my representative here. I moved to Starkville in 1977, and it was an entirely different place. It's a better place now, and I thank you for doing this. And I come before you today as a friend of the mayor and the friend of the Board of Aldermen. I think we're battling right now in different segments of our society with things we rationalize away. We think that this is something that that will take care of this and this will take care of that. But if you're dealing with narcotics, or you're dealing with drugs and things like that, you don't build, you do build up a tolerance, as I understand. And the next thing you want to do is you've got to go to a different type of drug. And I think that this is where we're headed right now. I don't know who penned or wrote this up for the second hearing on the thing, but I would strike out the word synthetic, and I would just leave that out. And there needs to be something in there dealing with the possession of that drug there. It's affecting our youth. I know the state of Mississippi has banned kratom purchase for people who are under 18. But these people are getting this somewhere, and they're getting it right on Highway 12 at the quick shops and places like that. Drug use stunts the growth psychologically of the individual. And it's something that it invades the family. It takes resources from the family that they don't really have, and they're spent for something like that. You can't regulate everything, but I think you can regulate what is illegal and what is not illegal. I think there's a monetary price that every family pays for that. We have an enrollment at Mississippi State of approximately 23,000 students, undergraduate and graduate and things of this sort. I think that Starkville is providing those types of things that make a community, a thriving community, and y'all have exhibited that when you did things for our roads, for 182 and for Main Street and for our parks and recreations. And I can't say, more accolades to you for that. But I think that we hold a responsibility for our young people in this community, that we don't give them access to things like kratom. And we certainly have an obligation to our youth. We have an obligation to educate them. We have obligation to take care of the recreation, to provide safe roads, but we need to take care and have a safe environment that we're looking at here in Starkville. And I would like to urge the board to ban kratom and the use of it here in Starkville, Mississippi. Y'all know more about this than I do, but I think I have a pretty good handle on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Childs. Do we have any minutes left?
6 minutes.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to speak to this? Anyone else?
I made this.
Yes, ma'am. Mhm.
Brandy Striblin. I just want to say I am lucky to have my husband here, honestly. He made the choice, admitted the problem, went and got help. Unfortunately, everybody, doesn't experience that. I am so thankful that he did. Every day is a challenge with him being out. Every day, my anxiety, is he going to go to the gas station? Is he going to do it again? Is he going to relapse? That is real life, and that can happen. And unfortunately, I'm dealing with that still, and I will for years. when you are told as a gas station owner, especially the 70H, to remove it, and you don't. And I have reached out to the head of narcotics in Starkville myself. I have given them the gas station. I have told them where it's at. These gas station owners do not care what they are doing to people's families. They want the money, period. That's it. And it needs to go. None of it's good. None of it. I mean, Mike, you heard Mike about the powder. I personally have never tried any of it, and I will not. And I praise Mike for doing that, so he can give you the real life story of that. This stuff is the devil. That's how I can explain it. It is no good. If we cannot go to a doctor and get pain pills, then there's an issue there. You got to look at yourself in the mirror. Why is my doctor not prescribing me my pain medicine? What am I doing? Am I abusing my pain medicine? So I just wanted to come up here and say, I think it all needs to go as well.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank y'all.
Strickland. All right, anyone else? Anyone else? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. The board will now go into deliberations of their own. I noted from the things that were said, the folks against appear to be against banning or against the ordinance with the exception of the kratom of the natural leaf. So that was one of the things that kind of fits with those emails that we've received. Alderman Sistrunk.
I'd like to make a motion and explain the reason that I'm making the motion that I am. I'd like to move that we approve the second draft ordinance, the one that models the language from the state House Bill 1077. Much of the information that we've received and much of the information that's out there that we find on our own is anecdotal. There's information about how things might impact pathways, that sort of thing, but a lot of the stories that we hear are anecdotal. The pure kratom has very little of the 7-OH. It's far less than 1% of 7-OH. The things that are marketed as kratom products, particularly in the service stations and quick marts, they're marketed as kratom products, but they are very, very much 7-OH products. And I think everything that we read about 7-OH talks about how addictive it is, how problematic it is, and I do think that it is appropriate that something be done about that. The draft ordinance number 2 models after the state language and defines what would be unallowable as a kratom product. And so anything with the high dosages of 7-OH will be unallowable. It extends the ban. What this draft ordinance number 2 does, it extends the ban that the state has placed on selling this to people who are under 21 to selling it, period. So it should not be, those kratom products that meet that definition should not be allowed for sale. Ordinance number 2 also aligns more with FDA and their recommendations about having this scheduled as a controlled substance. They've asked DEA to schedule things with 7-OH as a controlled substance, but they have not addressed the natural leaf kratom. And the third thing that this would do, this draft ordinance number 2, was it will take away the immediate and most pressing problem that we have here in Starkville, which is the sale of products that are high percentage 7-OH. If, when that is done, we find that there continues to be a problem with natural kratom, we can come back and amend the ordinance to extend that further. But that's my motion, that's my explanation.
Okay, so
Thank you.
you were moving for the ordinance which bans everything except the natural kratom. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a second for that motion?
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Moreland. Further discussion? Further discussion?
Mayor, let me be recognized,
Vice
please.
Mayor.
Mayor, I think we need to have some discussion on this matter. Might get a little volume on the mic up here, please. we need to have some discussion on this. Is a very important matter. I would like to see the board have some engagement on it so we can have some dialogue to have a reasonable and a rational basis for this. I've also heard some very compelling testimony this evening by a speaker who has petitioned the board to ban it all on his personal experiences. That was a very moving bit of testimony. And as a finder of fact, I am persuaded that we should ban it all. If we're going to find as a fact that the synthetic should be banned, and based on my reading, there's some detriment to the natural leaf. I'm not an expert in this, but I want to make sure that we, in my opinion, take all of the and the necessary reasonable action that we should on this particular subject matter. We heard the petitioner, the wife, talking about that she hopes and pray that her husband does not relapse on this particular substance here. I've also seen the other evidence that came in at our last public hearing. The police department in the city of Starkville had a packet of information that was provided to each member of this governing body, and it talks about the danger of kratom, and it used the word kratom, which was all inclusive, and we've heard a good bit of evidence. As a finder of fact, personally, I find no basis to exclude any form from being banned. I think if we really want to, in my personal and respectful and honorable opinion, to have safe streets, safe community, is to ban it all. I mean, what is the detriment to our municipality if we ban it all? We show no distinction. What that does is it shows toughness. It means, in my personal opinion, of course, I respect all of my distinguished colleagues, and that's what makes this body so great. We have different views, but at the end of the day, we make a decision that we think is best. And I heard from the last citizen, who's a longtime citizens community, asked us to ban kratom. And not only just hearing this tonight, but as the mayor, honorable mayor said, we received numerous bits of correspondence, email, and other correspondence. We see people as we traverse and move about this city who have various expressions and opinions and ideas and comments about the kratom. So what I like to see, in all due respect to my distinguished colleague from Ward 2, certainly appreciate her very modest and intellectual efforts to take some action on this subject matter. I like to really see and have an opportunity, and of course her motion is pending, and what the vice mayor is going to do is, and of course I'm not in favor of leaving here tonight with no ban. Personally, as I just mentioned, I like to see it all banned. I think that the streets would be safe. Anytime you're going to ban something, just like drugs, if you have a law say all drugs are banned, we get them off the streets. And then that leads to law enforcement, in my opinion, not to trying to differentiate. Goes to a local store. Well, this was a synthetic kratom. Then they are charged with the task of trying to differentiate. But they are experts. That's not my field. I'm just a lawyer and the vice mayor. So I'm not going to vote for this motion at this time unless there's a majority, it prevails. But I do want the media and the public and all those that tune in, all those that are listening, as a finder of fact. And I think, Attorney, we certainly need to have a record, and that's what we're doing now, to have a basis. What is our finding of fact of why we want this ordinance? We're finding as a fact that under our police powers, that we are of the opinion that we need to take action to promote the health, safety, and welfare of our city. And that's what we're trying to do here tonight. And I'm going to vote against this motion because it is my desire and opinion to go on record to indicate to the public and to all who's involved with this to know that the vice mayor is against all of the kratom. I want a total ban. But now if this motion passes for this ordinance by majority vote, I want to still be clear that I'm in favor of some ban. My first preference is a total ban. Then if we cannot get a total ban, then I do not want us to leave here tonight with no ban. We need to do something. We got to take some action. We got to start somewhere. But I think in conclusion here, let's just go ahead and just my respectful opinion. So whatever passes, that's what passes. And we just have to keep working together as a city. We're a great team here, okay? We're a great team. But I'm in favor of the total ban because we do that. We heard the testimony. And the testimony has certainly been substantial evidence. And it's just a matter of how we weigh in our findings of fact. So I just wanted to make those comments, and that is the only reason I'm going to vote against the pending motion now, because I would like to have an opportunity to vote on the total ban. The total ban may not pass, and then the total ban fails, then I'll support the second opportunity I may get to have to ban the synthetic. So, Mayor, with that being said, I'm going to yield. Thank you.
Okay, all right. We have a motion pending. Alderman Brooks?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'm more inclined to be along the same lines as Vice Mayor. I've read through this, and as a matter of fact, I went to see my pharmacist today to ask about the kratom. He looked at me kind of funny and went to the computer and started looking it up on the internet. And basically he said, well, you're not going to get that here. And I remember in our first public hearing, we had a medical professional here who basically said that, that you're not going to find this, in the Walgreens pharmacy or the CVS pharmacy or something like that. It's, and I know that it seems like the 708 version is sold under the counter at the gas station. I'm not sure about the pure leaf. I've not really been able to find out where that is. What I read is that, the pure leaf, you can maybe just double up on the dose or something. It acts like an opioid at the end of the day. So I'm along the same lines as Vice Mayor. I don't want to leave here with no ban, but at this point, I would vote against this motion to seek a total ban, and if that doesn't work, then we'll come back and try something different. I'm somewhat afraid that if we only go with banning the 708, we'll be back dealing with this, sooner rather than later, looking at the pure leaf.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Sister.
This is difficult for us because we're not chemists. We're not chemists. And so much of this deals on the chemistry of these drugs and how they impact your body. Kratom, the natural leaf kratom, the active component, the primary active component in it is something called mitragenia. It does have some 7-OH in it, but it's significantly less than 1% of the total alkaloids in that particular product. I sound like I might know what I talk about, but we are not chemists. We don't know. I think we've heard some very compelling stories on both halves of the pro or the con to banning the natural leaf piece of it. And they're opinions. They're opinions. I think that our safest legal position is to align ourselves with what the state has done. They have far more resources in putting together something that is defensible. What the state has done and what the Food and Drug Administration has recommended. There's no question that the 7-OH impacts people in a very, very harmful way, and that does need to be banned. I don't know, Alderman Brooks, I don't know that you can buy leaf kratom anywhere here in the city of Starkville. You can buy the 7-OH at lots of Quick Marts here in town. But most of the 7-OH that I hear about or I've read about comes from online sources. So our banning of a sale here in Starkville really doesn't, is not going to change that. But I would like for us to, at a minimum, as we're making our decision, distinguish between kratom and these things that are being marketed as kratom products. In a simple analogy that I've used, I have a little Diet Coke problem. That's one thing. Diet Coke, if I put bourbon in it, that's a completely different can of worms. And what's being sold in the Quick Marts and the service stations is 70H. It may have some kratom component, but that's not the primary thing that's being sold. What's being sold and what's causing the problem is the 70H.
Okay, all right. Anyone else wishing to speak to this before we go to a vote for, we have a motion and a second. Alderman Vaughn?
Let's vote.
I'm sorry.
Let's
Well,
vote.
okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were about to say, all right. If you would, please answer yea or nay as the city clerk calls your name.
Alderman Moreland.
Yay.
Alderman Fisher.
Yay.
Alderman Skinner.
Nay.
Alderman Brooks.
Nay.
Alderman Poker.
Nay.
Vice Mayor Perkins.
Nay.
Alderman Vaughn.
Nay.
All right, so that motion fails. Do I have another motion?
I have a motion.
Okay, Alderman.
And I'll make it transparent. The third optional ordinance on here that calls for a ban of both synthetic and natural, but not for criminalizing use or possession, is based on people who have found that this is helpful to their health. I have both friends and family who travel overseas to get treatment that they cannot get here. And if you found that this is something that is good for your health, I don't want you to have to go to jail for it or be fined for it. But at the end of the day, it has proven to be, it's not anything you can get prescribed to you. There's no FDA use that's allowed for it at the end of the day. And so I would move that we adopt the ordinance that bans both natural and synthetic, but does not criminalize the use or possession.
Okay, so I have that motion. Do I have a second to that motion? Do I have a second to that motion? It is to ban it all, but decriminalize the use or the possession. Do I have a second? All right, fails for lack of a second. All right, do I have another motion? Vice Mayor?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I like to offer a motion, that's the remaining one you have tonight, and that I was going to be the only one who have to consider, ban it all, Mayor. And it has a penalty in the sentence there.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I have a motion for the original ban on the entire product, both synthetic and natural. Do I have a second?
Second.
May I say something?
Well, you can't
After
let
the
me get my
motion.
second. I believe Alderman Vaughn, I heard you.
Second.
All right, all right. All right, Alderman Moore.
Yes, ma'am. So I know this has been something we've been talking about for a while. And I've talked to several people, a good many of them on the opposition of it, but I've also talked for the pro. And I've talked to both sides. And I think we need to look at that because we have heard a lot of people in favor of the ban, and I agree with that. But the ones that it benefits, who am I to tell them that, that they can't get it? And that's where I'm at because I've dealt with health issues with my mom recently. And I'm going to tell you, I would have done anything if I thought it was going to relieve her from pain and not cause problems for her. So I'm just don't know that we're in a position to deny that for the ones that it's helped. So
Okay.
that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Seeing none, if you would, answer yea or nay as the city clerk calls your name.
Alderman Moreland.
Nay.
Alderman Fisher.
Nay.
Alderman Skinner.
Yay.
Alderman Brooks.
Yay.
Alderman Poker.
Yay.
Vice Mayor Perkins.
Yay.
Alderman Vaughn.
Yay.
All right, by a vote of 5-2, the motion carries. So that is a complete ban on all kratom products in the city of Starkville. It will take effect 30 days hence. So, all right, thank you, everyone. We appreciate you participating and giving us guidance and your experience associated with this. So, we will move next to a public hearing on the property located Well, I'll give y'all a chance to clear the room if you wish to do so. You're welcome. All right, our next item for discussion is public hearing and consideration under Mississippi Code annotated 21-1911 to determine whether the property located near Reed Road and Peoples Street, Starkville, Mississippi 39759 with parcel number 118K-000-037.00 is in such a state of uncleanliness as to be a menace to the public health, safety, and welfare of the community, as such that cleanup of the property should occur. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Aldermen, and Vice Mayor and Board of Aldermen. I'm here to present a 21-1911 on Reed Road and Peoples Street, parcel number 118K-00-037.00. And the owner of the property shows, according to the tax record, Barnes Jeffrey Forrest. The first inspection was done on February 19th, 2026, approximately 14:23 hours, which show from the roadway by myself, which shows you've got different siding missing there, some missing windows, collapsed roof there. You also, so we sent out a letter of violation on February 2nd, 2026.
February the 20th?
February 20th,
Okay.
2026, yes ma'am. And we posted a public hearing on March 23rd, 2026 on the City Hall, on the property, and mailed it to the owner. The administrative warrant was signed by Judge Kelly on March 20th, 2026, and was executed by myself and building official McMullen on March 23rd, 2026, where you can see the same siding missing along with collapsed roofs. Here on the north side of the building, there's also some missing windows and doors. Inside of the front of the building, we have the collapsed roof, some overgrown vegetation with damaged floor, some more collapsed roof there with overgrown vegetation on the back room, and continuing on that wall on the outside, more missing windows and no roof. The back of the building, you'll see the missing windows and no roof and some debris. Same side for the south side with the missing windows and no roof as well, and overgrown vegetation. A re-inspection of the property was done April 6, 2026 by myself from the city roadway, where you could see that it was demoed, but there is just left with rubble, a lot of debris left over. Is there any other questions for me from the Board of Aldermen?
Well, that picture takes care of my question because I wanted to make sure that nobody was living there. I assume not, but you know what you do when you assume. So, okay. So they have demoed to that point. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Any questions of Officer Harvey before we open this a public hearing? Vice Mayor?
Mayor, I'm just excited to see you and your staff bring this. I see this every day. It's very unsightly. It clearly qualifies for the maximum relief under this statute. Great leadership, Mr. Police Chief and Mayor, to bring this. It's just an eyesore. It's a danger. It's been existing. I see it every day. I mean, travel this right there on the west side of Reed Road, the intersection of Peoples and Reed Road. So it's great identification. Thank you, Mayor, for getting this on the agenda.
Certainly. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Is the property owner with us tonight? Is the property owner here? All right, seeing that he's not here, I will take this time and open it as a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, now would be the opportunity. Anyone wishing to speak either for or against the declaration of this piece of property being declared as an unsafe and health hazard to the community such that cleanup should occur? Anyone? Seeing none, I'll close it as a public hearing. I need a motion to make this declaration.
So moved, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Alderman Skinner, is that what you?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. And then we have, this is the one that I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting that we would hold a public hearing on, but the request has been removed. Mr. Haviland, would you like to come up and make a quick presentation on this, please, sir?
Yes, this is the hotel that was recently refurbished. I have the address at 106 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Drive West. And what happened, the applicant started doing renovations on the structure without a building permit. Once that was discovered and the fire marshal and the building official had a chance to inspect it, the amount of work that they had done had triggered compliance to the current codes, which would have, because of the occupancy, would have required fire sprinklers. So they applied for a variance to not install the fire sprinklers system, and then the Board of Adjustment Appeals voted unanimously to recommend denial of that. And then I think earlier today or yesterday, they had called and asked to have the item removed.
All right. That being said, any questions, Mr. Haviland, before I open it as a public hearing? Seeing none, okay, I will open this item as a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to it, and we are doing this despite the fact that the applicant has withdrawn the request because we did advertise it as a public hearing. So anyone wishing to speak to it, now would be the opportunity. Anyone wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'll close it as a public hearing, and we will move along. You have the next item?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Next item is VA 26-02. This is a variance request by Frank Jones for a variance for lot 217, which is located at 262 Turnberry Lane in Country Club Estates. The applicant is requesting to reduce the required front setbacks from 25 feet to 15 feet in order to move the proposed house closer to the street, citing improved drainage as the justification. The slope impacting the lot was identified on the original subdivision plat and the supporting documents for the infrastructure plan. The applicant, who is also the developer of the subdivision, was involved in the design, construction of the infrastructure, and therefore was aware of these conditions prior to trying to develop it. This is the plan that he submitted along with the application. It doesn't show any grade in the back. This is a map of what's going on in the whole area. All other adjacent homes on the east side of the street meet the required 25-foot front setbacks. Approval of this request would result in one home being located significantly closer to the street than the others in the immediate area. The blue houses that are shown on here are houses that are currently under construction. The orange ones are ones that are complete that do meet the setbacks. The red dashed one is the one in the middle that's part of this request. And then the two green areas where previously approved front setback adjustments happened for the entire block, not just for one lot. There are 6 criteria for variance review and approval. This is the staff's analysis of those criteria. Special condition, staff finds that the slope in a property does not constitute a special condition unique to this lot, as a similar topographic conditions were identified and addressed during the subdivision's design process. Literal interpretation, staff finds that enforcing a 25-foot front setback does not deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties. Other homes on the east side of the street have met the setback requirements. Hardship, staff finds that the hardship is self-imposed. The applicant developed the subdivision and was aware of the lot condition, including the slope, at the time the infrastructure plans were designed. Special privilege, granting the variance would allow the applicant to construct a home closer to the street than any other home on the east side, which would constitute a special privilege not granted to the other properties. Minimum variance, staff finds the reduction of 10 feet is not the minimum necessary, as the lot can still be reasonably developed in compliance with the required setback without the variance. In consistency with the comprehensive plan, staff finds the request would disrupt the established development pattern on the east side of the street and is not consistent with maintaining a uniform streetscape. The request was notified in accordance with UDC. 13 property owners of record were notified directly by mail. A legal ad was published on February 21st, 2026, and a sign posted on the property. As of this date, the planning office has received no response to the notification. On March 25th, the Board of Adjustment Appeals meeting, on the third motion, the board voted 3-1 to recommend approval of the request with the following condition of approval. Any front-facing garage door shall be set back a minimum of 20 feet from the right-of-way. At that meeting, it did go through 3 separate motions. The first motion was to approve, and it died because it was a tie, 2-2. The second motion was to deny, and it died for lack of a second. And then the third motion was approved 3-1. The approval recommended by the Board of Adjustment Appeal was not clearly based on any of the criteria for review and approval as shown in section 3.71. However, staff recommends denial of this request based on the criteria of approval in section 3.7.1.
Okay.
So if there are any questions?
Questions of Mr. Haviland? Alderman Brooks.
The slope you're talking about, I mean, is it pretty significant at the back of the lot or?
I mean, there's a hill in the back of the lot, but if, as you go further down the street, there are hills, you know, all along the back of these lots. But again, you know, when the subdivision was developed, that was a concern to make buildable lots that should have been addressed at the infrastructure stage of the planning.
Anything further on this? Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right, the applicant is in the audience. Would you like to come share your thoughts on this particular project, Mr. Joe? Okay. Get to the mic, so we'll have you
Sorry.
on record. Okay.
And
And introduce yourself, please, for.
I'm Frank Jones, developer, Country Club Estates. We have a big slope on the back of this, so it started with our engineer basically saying if this can be moved forward, it's going to help us get the drainage around this house better. And so that started the thing. But if you look at these things, we have, like we developed Sherwood Forest too, we have 7.5 feet behind the curb before the lot starts. But out there in Country Club Estates, we have 15 feet behind the curb. And then you go, you know, the additional 25, you're 40 feet off the road. And so because we have that bigger setback between the curb and the lot line, we have done various variances out there to fix some of that. But we still are going to have it's the garage that's coming forward out there. We have golf course access, so everybody wants that third garage, which is an extra 10 feet, which is what this is. The front of the house is 8 feet further back, so it's going to be 38 feet to that, but the garage sticks forward the extra 10 feet. But we still have 30 feet to that, 38 feet to the front porch. I own the lots on both sides of that, and then, you know, but even a house that's set 25 feet set back, they're not all the same. So the board felt like that my request was reasonable, and they voted for it. So anyway, that's my theory there. I met the neighbor that backs up to Greenbrier subdivision. I met him, and he's going to have trouble with a big tree he's got, and I'm going to help him out too when we clear that. But I don't think it's going to be very noticeable at all. We can, you know, with landscaping, put that in front of the garage, and I think it's going to be barely noticeable, if at all. So there was no opposition to it with the notifications put out. And then more importantly, it's my subdivision. I would never do anything that I think would hurt that. So this house is going to sit better that way. I can get the drainage around the house better if we just move it forward. We're still 30 feet from the back of the curb. A lot of houses have that 25 setback from the back of the curb in Country Club Estates. So that's my take on this, and I think it'll sit good. I don't think it's going to be an eyesore. It's going to stick out at all. And I just appreciate y'all's consideration of that, and that's really all I got. So.
Do you own the remainder of those lots, and do you anticipate bringing the others forward for much the same reason?
No, I just on this one with this house that I had. I like this house. I think it's going to do well in there. But you're talking about a house that's right under $900,000, so it's a high dollar house.
So
mine in the corner. We brought that one in the very corner, 290. We brought that forward 5 feet to make that fit better. So at the end of the street, but. And then across the street, we moved all those forward because of the retention ditch. It's behind those. And we felt like that would be a good move for all 8 of those to move that forward to give these folks a little more backyard and get them off of that retention ditch a little bit. So,
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Jones? Alderman Moore.
What is so interesting about this particular lot that the drainage on this one lot and not the one beside it would cause an issue?
well, the one beside it's lower.
Or the two beside it on each
This
side?
one's at the peak of the hill, so you got probably a 10-foot drop from the back of that lot to the front. And if you go back there 20 feet right next, back there, you're going to have a pretty steep slope. And I'm just trying to work this water around, and I think it sits better. If you look at it, you'll have 30 feet on a back setback because you move it forward, you're going to gain it in the back.
No, I understand.
Gives
that.
us more room. And you're still, again, 30 feet. Some of those houses in there are 25 feet from the back of the curb in Country Club Estates. So, but we have that before the lot even starts, we got 15 feet, where it's normally 7.5 to 8 feet behind the curb. So we have more in the front before we even get to the lot. So moving it forward 10 feet, you still got 30 feet, is my point there. So anyway.
Any other questions of Mr. Jones? Any other? All right, if you would, please, I'm going to open it as a public hearing. All right, open this matter as a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to either for or against the variance requesting to reduce the front yard setback from 25 to 15 feet for lot 217 in Country Club Estates? Anyone? Seeing none, I'll close it as a public hearing. Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion? Alderman Sistrunk.
Based on staff recommendations, I move that we deny this request for a variance because it does not meet the criteria for a variance, and particularly because some of the problems are self-imposed.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Alderman Perkins, Vice Mayor Perkins. Sorry, thank you. All right, any other discussion? Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. The request is denied. All right, next item to move forward is the claims docket. Do I have a motion?
Move approval.
A motion from Alderman Pope. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Skinner. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Motion carries. And then we do have a request for authorization to hire Michael D. Jones as an Assistant General Manager in the Starkville Utilities Department.
Move approval.
I have a motion from Alderman Sistrunk. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Moreland. Any discussion?
Mayor, very briefly,
Vice Mayor.
Honorable City Clerk, would you please state for the record what's that annual salary excluding benefits? Do you have the annual? I just want the public to hear that salary.
It was 155.
Uh,
Some dollars. I don't have the exact number.
Miss
Mr. Kemp.
Yes.
Mr. Kemp, could you come up, please, sir?
Yeah, I just wanted to be articulated for the public that we're hiring this system manager for. That's our one question.
I don't have that cover sheet from HR. I could pull it up real quick on the agenda. I think it's one.
Okay, you got it? Let me see. There we go. I will do that. All right, the pay is $155,396.80, which is $74.71 per hour based on a 20/80 hour.
And Mayor, that excludes the benefits, right, Mayor? Excludes benefits. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I need, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, anything further?
No, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. And with that, that takes us to the end of the agenda. So allow me, if you would please, to call a work session. In accordance with the notice as required under Mississippi Code annotated 254113, the board will have a work session on Friday, the 17th of April, 2026 at 11 a.m. That meeting will be held at City Hall in the second floor conference room located at 110 West Main Street. Notice shall be provided of this work session within 1 hour of this meeting. By posting such notice at City Hall, the notice for the work session shall be made a part of the minutes of the board meeting. The work session will be an open public meeting of the City of Starkville, and the public and press are invited to attend. Could I get a motion to recess? Alderman Vaughn, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Alderman Poca. Sorry, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are in recess. Thank you.